Go ahead, guys, and get it started.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Finn O'Connor.
What were the rules governing the Philadelphia Convention of 1787? Are there any rules you would change? Why or why not? Begin.
The Philadelphia Convention took place on May 25th, 1787. This convention created the Constitution we have today. There were many rules that created for the purpose of keeping the convention fair and even. If at least 7 states were present, then the meetings could continue. If less than that, then the meetings were adjourned for the day. If members could not speak more than twice, and only twice, once every other member has spoken at least once on a single subject. Nothing in the room shall be discussed outside of the rooms. They do not allow for public opinions when forming the new government. These rules make sure that every state gets a say, and that no one state overpowers any others.
The rule of secrecy was that nothing spoken be printed or otherwise published or communicated without leave. This rule seems to go against an important part of democracy, openness. Some who did not attend this convention did not like this rule as it kept them from participating in the convention. And Thomas Jefferson called the rule in a letter to John Adams an abominable precedent. The rule was created so that no one attended would be swayed by outside opinions and that they could speak their minds without fear. Some of the convention, like George Washington and James Madison, believed that it was a necessary rule. George Washington called it a proper precaution to prevent mistakes and misrepresentation. The rule of secrecy was good for the time it was created in, because news traveled slower then than it does now, giving it more time to warp and for it to go against what it was originally meant. While news still warps now, it doesn't have as much time to warp, and video can be used to disprove inaccuracies. The rule of secrecy was a necessary one, but an expedient one.
Civil discourse is the exchange of ideas between one another in order to come up with a solution. With that being said, respect and open-mindedness are needed. Although the delegates of the convention were divided politically, they all wanted a chance to share their opinions. The original purpose of the convention was to add on and to approve the Articles of Confederation. However, the delegates decided to create a new constitution rather than improving the Articles. The rules which adopted civil discourse were: the debate allowed everyone to speak their opinions without being interrupted and receive full attention in talking. They were also not allowed to speak twice on the same issue until everyone had spoken at least once. On the other hand, some did not respect the rules placed on the convention. Delegates were also told to keep the convention a secret from outsiders. This goes against civil discourse and the idea that the founders wanted everyone to have a chance to speak.
While the details of the Philadelphia Convention were being discussed, delegates remained civil to one another throughout the difficult process. Today, however, we do not have the same civility they had at the convention. In our modern world, we see arguing, extreme separation in viewpoints, refusal to compromise, close-mindedness, and even aggressive name-calling, in an attempt to discredit the opposing views. The delegates in the Philadelphia Convention sat before long months in sweltering heat, with the windows nailed shut and no air conditioning. And they managed to listen to each other with respect, with each other's views, enough to draft the Constitution of the United States. Meanwhile, today, the political parties cannot seem to agree on anything, let alone respect on each other's ideas. But the United States hopes to resolve issues regarding immigration, international relations, or global trade. Politicians need to be able to work together across the party lines for the common good. Delegates of the Philadelphia Convention should be used as role models and examples of how to strengthen our country with hard work, compromise, and a sense of purpose and maturity.
I would not change any of the rules that the convention has, so it states fair and every state gets a say. Even though many people were upset with the rule of secrecy, it is crucial in creating the Constitution, because if the whole country found out that they were creating a new form of government, then many people would be mad because they are once again trying to change what that they're once again trying to change the form of government.
Point board you have.
Not much sense to it.
I'll go forward. So you discussed a lot of the various rules that the convention utilized. In both of your independent opinions, what do you believe is the most important rule that was utilized at the convention and why?
For each delegate to speak once on a matter and not to speak again until every other delegate so each person could get out their ideas and just kind of each have, like, all the viewpoints would be taken into account before they speak again.
I have to agree with that because it's important for every state and every person to have a say in the matter, so, what is formed is the best that it could possibly be, but the rule of secrecy is also very important for the convention, so that way people aren't swayed by the opinion of the public and they aren't concerned about what the public will think about them before they get out.
Here's how many examples of like ways our modern Congress kind of sets rules to govern behavior in Congress, kind of like the convention did.
You probably do.
So, speaking about the practicality of the convention and all that, we talked about, or you guys talked about, you know, some of the rules that were set forth and things like that. Going off of that, how would you each define civic virtue and then apply it to modern day America? How are we doing? Is it practical? Are we doing well? Does it have its advantages and disadvantages? So again, define civic virtue and then how are we doing? Judge modern America on that.
I think it's just overall being a good person, kindness, and putting other people ahead of yourself instead of thinking selfishly and just being a bad person in general. And we're not exactly doing the best at that, but we're doing okay.
So I'd have to agree with that. When they were doing the Philadelphia Convention, they were trying to keep it a secret so that way the public didn't go with an individual person decision. The people in the convention were trying to go what was best for the whole country and not just for one public individual or a group of individuals. Today we have the political parties which are doing what's best for their self-interest and not putting the country ahead of themselves like they did at the convention.
So speaking about that, you have this wonderfully virtuous Philadelphia Convention with these laws in places, rules in places, regulations, and now today, I think we would agree that stuff doesn't exist nearly as much. What was the catalyst? Where did we switch to this system of arguing, and the word you used earlier, of kind of the negative discontent in politics? What happened?
So, can you restate that, please?
Sure. So during the Philadelphia Convention, we had these rules in place, these gentlemen laws, as they were, to allow other people to speak and to allow all the points to be heard before you speak again. And today you guys talked about political discontent, almost hatred for each other, you know, party alliance versus what's better for the people. Where did that switch happen? You know, at the beginning of our country's history, we were these gentlemanly politicians, and now we're these bloodthirsty politicians. Is there an event or a time where that flop occurred?
I don't think there was a singular time. I think it was just a long course of individual kind of examples of it happening and showing to like work in those individual times for it to happen more broadly. And they weren't like at the convention, they weren't always good people to each other, but in the end they were able to eventually compromise on the important stuff.
I have to agree that it did happen over a long course of events, but one of the main events that sort of switched us to political parties and sectionalism and arguing with each other would have to be slavery, because the North was realizing that the South was treating the slaves as poor beings when they were human beings just like the rest of them. Well, the South thought of them as property, and that sort of started the dividing line between the parties and sectionalism.
Plus for mudslinging, for modern day politicians and everything, kind of started with William Henry Harrison, when they started personally attacking each other, and that kind of worked in a way.
And then since it worked, it started the precedent that if you mudsling, then there's a higher chance that you will make it into office.
If a convention was held today, what two rules do you think would still be in existence that we would utilize? And maybe what rule do you think wouldn't be in existence?
So the rule that you can speak twice, but only twice if everyone else has spoken, would be a needed rule, so that way one person isn't arguing their whole opinion and fighting against the entire other side, but rather you have people fighting against other, let me try to rephrase this, how's that? If you have a group of people, that would be a needed rule. I'm trying to think of why, but I can't.
The other rule is that, no one could like interrupt the other person while they're speaking, so they can get the entire idea out. So
Thanks, gentlemen.
Hey, you got your handicapped down too, okay? You did a fine job, okay? You did very, very well. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys were very nervous setting up here with Patrick's feet gone, okay? You didn't seem nervous, okay? There's only one thing that I'm gonna say, and it's just to stay polished, okay? So I know you're down 2 people, we know that, okay? We already know that going into it. There's a couple times when I kind of felt like you guys were reading somebody else's part of your presentation. You got a little bit lax, kind of sat back more in a chair, kind of your leg. I can kind of tell you're a little bit more relaxed, like it wasn't your part, but you still got to own it, even if, you know, because you're carrying the weight for your team, okay? You did a good job with our questions. It's something that I love this topic. Definitely find some ways that Congress conducts themselves, one is the ability to censure its own people. Like if there's somebody out of turn, or they're breaking rules, or they are being too they're being obnoxious or name calling, they can be censured. It's kind of a neat rule that within Congress they have.
So I think overall, you know, I couldn't imagine being in your shoes to do your 50% strength right now. So that being said, I understand, you know, you had strength in your own parts, but I totally agree with Mr. Garber too. I like the way you phrase it, stay polished. I mean, it's not gonna happen at nationals, but you should always be, you know, by now you should know everybody's parts like the back of your hand. It's hard to provide then like just feedback, given that 50% of you were gone, but the one thing that was glaringly obvious, that was a difference from the last time I saw you guys at the Bar Association building. Finn, I noticed you slowed down in a very strong manner this time. When I watched you do it, whatever that was, a month ago or however long ago, it was so fast that I could barely understand what you were saying. And this time, like intentionally, I was saying to myself, slow down, slow down, slow down. And when it came out, it was beautiful. So I think that just, you know, that was the one thing that popped out to me as a really positive to give you guys. Given that with 50% of you gone, I mean, it's tough to give real feedback.
I'll break it down from the answer and then question and answer, or your speech. I thought overall, the parts that I caught were your parts. You seemed confident, you spoke clearly, I saw a lot of eye contact. I would say maybe more so than some other groups. So those are really good. I would say, especially with your prepared response, make sure you're really working on your articulation. You're hitting your consonants, you're hitting the right areas in your tone. And tone is a really weird thing, because sometimes you can talk very quietly or very loudly or really give emphasis on something. When you're reading something, especially a prepared piece, and you're wanting to sell it, how much emphasis you give a word, or how you focus, or how your tone goes up and down really can help sell to your audience or your judges that you're interested in this, it's important, listen to it. So figure out within your response how to add and, so to speak, make a roller coaster out of your tone. Give a little bit here, a little bit less there. So for the question and answer, I generally thought you did a really good job. You were both eager to answer the questions in a way, you just stepped up and did it. You spoke off the cuff, I thought, very well. There wasn't a lot of hesitation there. You looked comfortable. You also were using gestures. You made eye contact the whole time. I thought that went really well, so good job.